All right, in this video, we're going to go over ratios and proportions. All right, so a ratio. A ratio is simply a comparison of one number with another by division. Okay? So, for instance, and ratios can be written three different ways. You can write it A over B. You can write A colon B that way, or you can write A to B. All right, so there's three ways to write ratios, but they're all pronounced the same. All of these are pronounced as A to B. Okay, A to B. Now, with ratios, they're always fractions, so you'll never have mixed numbers. If you have mixed numbers that you're trying to compare, and you want to use a ratio, you need to take the mixed numbers, convert them to improper fractions first, and then do the comparison. For example, say we wanted the ratio of 3.5 to 5 1/4. All right, so this is your A, this is your B. The number that's first will be your A, the number that's second will be your B. So this will be 3.5 to 5 1/4. Now, we don't want it like that because we have mixed numbers in here. So what we're going to have to do is convert this to an improper fraction. To do that, a whole number times the denominator, 3 times 2 is 6, add it to the numerator. So that becomes 7 halves, 5 times 4 is 20, plus 1 is 21. Now, we still have a fraction divided by a fraction. So we need to flip the bottom out and multiply. So it's going to be 7 halves times 4 over 21. And you can do any cross-reducing. So this would be a 1, 2, 1, 3. So our answer would be 2/3. So the ratio of 3.5 to 5 1/4 is 2 over 3, or 2 to 3. Okay? So remember, you can't have mixed numbers in your ratios, and you can't have fractions either. If you end up with a fraction over a fraction, or even a whole number divided by a fraction, you take the fraction on the bottom, turn it over, and multiply it by the fraction in the top. Okay? So there's one way to do ratios. Now, something else. Say we're comparing measurements. All right, so say we're comparing measurements. And we want to write it as a ratio, or we want to use it to simplify or whatever. So say we want to do 3 meters to 40 centimeters. All right, we have two different units going on here. We have meters and centimeters. We need to pick one of the units and stick with it. Now, let's pick centimeters, because in order to go to meters, you'd have to make this a decimal, which you don't want. Since you don't want fractions in your ratio, you don't want decimals in your ratios either. All right. So we know there's 100 centimeters in a meter. So this would simply be 300 centimeters over 40 centimeters. All right. In this case, the units now will cancel out, leaving us 300 over 40. The zeros will cancel out, leaving us 30 over 4. Both of these are divisible by 2, leaving us 15 over 2. So when you're dealing with ratios, you want to make sure you always have the same units for two reasons. One, it'll make your units cancel out, so you're left with just your ratio of A over B. And also, like this here would distort our ratio, because this would look like it's 3 to 40, where it's actually 15 to 2. All right, so you always want to make sure you have the same units. Like if we wanted to do, say, 1.5 years to 30 months, or 30 months to 1.5 years. All right. 1.5 years, well, there's 12 months in a year, half a year is 6, so this would be 18 months over 30 months. Months cancel out, and then we can reduce this down to 5/3. All right, so you always want to make sure, always want to make sure you have the same units. If it's not, take one of the numbers and convert it. Take one of them and convert it. And make sure, like here, you convert to the smaller units so that way you don't have decimals. So we took the meters and put it down to centimeters because that's our smallest unit. We took the years and converted it to months because months is our smallest unit. All right? Now, something else I want to talk to you about is finding unit prices. Okay? Unit prices or unit ratios. Okay? So, basically what this is this is like finding, say you buy something at the store and you want to know what the price per ounce is. Right? This is how we're going to find that. So our unit price equals the total price divided by the total units. Okay? So say a 5-pound, 4-ounce box of detergent costs $7.14. And we want to know the price per ounce. Okay, so if you notice here, we're going to put the total price, 7.14, over the total ounces, where there's 16 ounces in a pound. So 5 times 16 is 80, and then so we have 84 ounces. Okay, this is dollars, and this is ounces. Now, in a unit price, as you can see, our units are not going to cancel out. And in this case, it is okay to have that decimal there because we're finding unit price. All right. So what you would do is you would simply take the 7.14, divide it by the 84 to get 0.085 per ounce. Okay? Per ounce. So, unit price, you take the total price, put it over the total units. And it's okay if the price has a decimal, but you want your units to not really have a decimal. But then you just simply take the top, divide by the bottom. So it's $0.085 per ounce, or 8.5 cents per ounce. But since this is in dollars, this would be in dollars. Okay? Since this is in dollars, that would be in dollars. All right? So that's how you do unit price. It's total price divided by total units. All right, last thing we're going to talk about is solving proportions. Okay, a proportion is a statement that equates two ratios. So A over B equals C over D. Now, when you solve proportions, you cross multiply. So this would be AD equals BC. And if one of these is a variable, you would basically solve for that variable. So say we had 50 over X equals 2 over 28. Now, you would not cross-reduce this, okay? Because that's going to throw off what X is. So we would not cross-reduce this, okay? You can simplify within the fraction, but you can't cross-reduce. So this here, because we're cross-multiplying, this would be 2x equals 50 times 28, which 2x would equal 1,400. And now, of course, we got to divide by the 2, solve like any other equation. So x would be 700. So 50 over 700, if you reduce it, it'll reduce down to 2 over 28. Okay? It'll reduce down to 2 over 28. All right, so that's solving proportions. Now, say we had parentheses in those proportions. Well, not parentheses. Well, yeah, I'm going to put parentheses. x minus 2 over 5 equals 4/3. You're still going to do the same thing. You're still going to cross multiply. So 3 to x minus 2 equals 20. And now you just solve it like you would any equation. So in this case, x would equal 26 over 3. Okay? All right. That's pretty much it for proportions and ratios and proportions. So feel free to watch this video as many times as you need to. Make sure you understand the concepts and make sure you come to class tomorrow ready to work some problems. See you tomorrow.